The royal family is shrouded in mystery and secrecy. Many people don't know about the strange and often downright bizarre traditions that they still practice. Today, we're uncovering the top 15 most bizarre royal family traditions. Let's start with number 15, Saint Devotee's Day. Saint Devotee, which is celebrated each year on January 27th, is a significant event in Monaco that honors Saint Devotee, the patron saint of the territory, whose legacy dates back to the early 4th century. The royal family of Monaco plays a central role to the celebrations, which began on the evening of the 27th, when a symbolic boat is carried through the streets of Monaco and ultimately set ablaze, in a ceremonial act that reenacts Devotee's journey and arrival. This boat-burning ceremony takes place in the presence of Prince Albert II, Prince Charlene, and other members of the Grimaldi family, drawing crowds of locals and visitors. On the day itself, the celebrations continue with a mass held at the church, with the church becoming the focal point of activities. The royal family, dressed in formal attire, attends the mass, but's then expected to take a more active role in the proceedings. Prince Albert II is often seen lighting the fire during the boat-burning ceremony, a role that's said to signify leadership and the protection of the traditions. Saint Devotee's Day is an expression of Monegasque identity, and the participation of the royal family adds a layer of significance to the proceedings. It is a great example of strange and unusual traditions that have evolved over the years, and it sees the royals taking a leading role in things. Number 14. The Norwegian royal family take part in an annual ski race. The Norwegian royal family is well known for their active participation in national cultural traditions, with one of the most prominent being the Holmenkollen Ski Festival. This event is an important part of Norwegian culture and identity and showcases the nation's passion for skiing and the outdoors. The festival is held each year in Oslo, and it's one of the world's oldest skiing competitions, dating back to 1892. It features a variety of skiing events, including ski jumping, cross-country skiing, and biathlon, but it goes beyond those, also celebrating Norwegian winter sports culture as a whole. The royal family's involvement in this event is a significant aspect of the festival. King Harald V, Queen Sonja, Crown Prince Haakon, and Crown Princess Mette-Marit are often seen taking part. King Harald V, an avid sportsman and sailor, sets an example through his active lifestyle and has been known to take part in the races, leading by example. Queen Sonja, also known for her love of the outdoors, takes part too, and Crown Prince Haakon and Crown Princess Mette-Marit's involvement is seen as crucial in appealing to the younger demographic. The presence of the entire royal family at the Holmenkollen Ski Festival serves as a powerful symbol of unity and continuity, bridging generations and emphasizing the timeless nature of Norway's love for skiing. Number 13. The Royal Taumafa Cava Ceremony. The Royal Taumafa Cava ceremony is a deeply significant cultural and ritualistic event in Tonga, rooted in centuries-old traditions. The ceremony takes place around the country, but it's mostly associated with the Tongan monarchy, and it's held on various important occasions, including the coronation of a new king, royal weddings, and significant state events. Cava is a traditional drink made from the root of the kava plant, and it's central to this ceremony. It's known for its sedative and calming effects, and it's often used to facilitate communication with the spiritual world and to promote social cohesion. The ceremony is a highly structured and formal event with elaborate protocols. The ceremony typically takes place in a special pavilion or open-air space, where mats are laid out for the attendees who are arranged in their hierarchical positions. At the heart of the ceremony is the kava bowl, usually a large, ornately carved wooden vessel, and the kava is prepared by specially chosen people who pound the kava roots into a fine powder, mix it with water, and strain it through a cloth to produce the drink. The ceremony begins with the arrival of the king or the high-ranking royal figure for whom the event is being held. Now, the entrance is marked by traditional chants and the blowing of conch shells, and the king takes his place at the head of the gathering, signifying his central role in the ritual. During the ceremony, the kava is presented to the king, while accompanied by traditional chants known as laka laka, which praise the king and recount the history and mythology of Tonga. Once the kava is prepared, it's served to the king first, and he drinks from a specially designated cup, often made from coconut shell, which is passed to him by an appointed attendant. This act of drinking kava is symbolic. It represents the king's connection to the spiritual realm and his role as the intermediary between the gods and the people. Number 12. The Habsburgs of Austria were weighed before Christmas dinner. The Habsburgs of Austria, one of the most influential royal families in European history, were known for their unique traditions. but perhaps the strangest was that they were each weighed before Christmas dinner. This ritual became an important part of the court's festivities and a central part of ceremonial life. The tradition dates back to the 19th century under the reign of Emperor Franz Joseph I. It served a practical purpose and was also a light-hearted way to ensure moderation and health among the royal family. Before the grand Christmas meal, which was a lavish affair filled with a range of wondrous dishes, the family would gather and each member would step on a scale and their weights were carefully recorded. It's important to note that this practice wasn't meant to embarrass anybody, but rather to promote a sense of restraint during the season, a time typically associated with indulgence. After the festive period, the Habsburgs would be weighed again to see how much weight they'd gained, with this follow-up weigh-in usually taking place in January, turning the process into a family affair filled with curiosity and competition. It was a way to encourage the family to enjoy the holidays while remaining mindful of their health. The weighing ritual also reflected Habsburg's wider approach to life and governance, and not wanting to be seen as excessive by their subjects, something they had seen go very wrong for the monarchies in other countries, such as France. Number 11. The Cambodian Royal Plowing Ceremony. The Cambodian Royal Plowing Ceremony is an ancient agricultural ritual that marks the beginning of the rice planting season. The annual event is held in May and is one of Cambodia's most important cultural and spiritual ceremonies. The origins of the event can be traced back to the early Angkor period, and it's traditionally presided over by members of the royal family or high-ranking officials. The ceremony is typically held in Phnom Penh, often in the park in front of the National Museum or the Royal Palace, attracting large crowds of spectators, including farmers, dignitaries, and tourists. Things begin with a procession featuring the sacred oxen, beautifully decorated with ornate harnesses and colorful accessories. These oxen are considered symbols of fertility and central to the ritual. The procession also includes Brahmin priests who perform blessings and prayers to invoke favorable weather and bountiful harvests. And then the ceremonial plowing is performed by a couple selected to play the roles of Preah Mir, or the King of the Plowing, and Preah Nyongkol, or the Queen of the Plowing. These people, often chosen for their status and virtues, represent the royal authority overseeing the agricultural process. During the ceremony, the sacred oxen are yoked to a wooden plow, and the couple guides them to plow a symbolic furrow in the field. This act is believed to bless the land and ensure a productive growing season. Following the plowing, the oxen are led to 7 trays filled with offerings such as rice, corn, beans, sesame seeds, grass, water, and wine, and their choice of food from these trays is interpreted as an omen, predicting the agricultural conditions for the coming year. For instance, if they eat a significant amount of rice or corn, it's taken as a sign of a good harvest. On the other hand, if they eat grass or drink water, it might be seen as a prediction of floods or poor yield. The royal plowing ceremony holds a deep cultural and spiritual meaning for Cambodians. It not only reaffirms the importance of agriculture, but also connects the present with the past, honoring the traditions and beliefs of their ancestors. It's a time for farmers to seek blessings and guidance for the planting season, ensuring that their efforts are in harmony with the natural cycles, and it reminds them of the ceremonial importance of their royal family. Number 10. Playing Monopoly is banned. Every family has a time when they like to play games, and for many, including royal families, it's a great way to get together around a board game. There are some, though, that are apparently completely off limits, and for the British royal family, Monopoly is one that they stay clear of. This ban, while seeming trivial, sheds light on the family's similarity to everyone else in some ways, but also their differences in needing to maintain decorum and avoid potentially divisive or contentious situations, even in their private lives. The story dates back to 2008, when Prince Andrew, Duke of York, mentioned during a public engagement that playing Monopoly was prohibited within the royal household because it gets too vicious. While this remark, made in a lighthearted context, was a glimpse into the dynamics of family interactions, even among the royals, and probably something every person who has ever played Monopoly with their family will know all too well. Monopoly, of course, involves strategic property trading, negotiation, and sometimes ruthless tactics, and it's notorious for causing arguments. Within the context of the royal family, who are always under public scrutiny, maintaining harmony and avoiding any behavior that could be seen as undignified or overly competitive is critical, so they're probably far better off by avoiding it altogether. The royal family's choice to avoid monopoly can be seen as part of a wider set of unwritten guidelines and practices that aim to uphold the image and values of the monarchy. The royals are known for keeping to tradition, etiquette, and a sense of duty, which extends into their personal lives. By opting out of potentially contentious activities, they safeguard their relationships and the perception of unity and decorum that's expected from them. Number 9. The Umanga of Brussels. The Omang of Brussels is an annual cultural event that's a reenactment of a significant historical moment in 1549, known as the joyous entry of Emperor Charles V into Brussels. The event typically takes place in early July and sees the organization of huge processions, medieval jousts, and various performances that transport you into the past. Now, central to the modern Omang is the presence and participation of the Belgian royal family in the festivities. It begins with a procession through the streets of Brussels, where participants don historically accurate costumes representing various guilds, nobility, and even figures from folklore. The procession culminates in the Grand Palace, where a grand performance takes place. Here, the royal family is usually seated in a place of honor, overlooking the square as the events progress, with their presence seen as a particular highlight, drawing large crowds wanting to catch a glimpse of the royals and to feel part of this shared national history. One of the most anticipated moments is the reenactment of the historical jousts and games, which are performed in the same way as they have been for centuries. The king and queen, often accompanied by their children, are seen interacting with performers and participants, adding a personal touch to the proceedings. As well as being a royal event, it's also a great display of Belgian craftsmanship and artistry, with costumes, floats, and props that have been handcrafted by local artisans, and the more attention that's brought to it, the more tradition is kept alive. Number 8. Heirs cannot travel together. It may seem like a perfect life where everything you could ever need is arranged for you, and anytime you travel anywhere, you're afforded the most luxurious options available. But there are various consequences for all this. One, of course, is a sense of privacy, with photographers at every turn. But another is that direct heirs to the throne aren't ever allowed to actually travel together, a tradition that's deeply rooted in the need to preserve lineage and continuity. This measure, although seemingly old-fashioned, does remain relevant and is observed by many royal families and dynasties from around the world, and is seen as necessary in case anything happens that could jeopardize the succession. This protocol is especially prevalent among royal families where the line of succession is a matter of national importance. For instance, in the British royal family, it's customary for the monarch and the immediate heirs to the throne to travel separately. This means that King Charles, as well as his son, Prince William, and William's eldest child, Prince George, could not ever travel together on the same flight or in the same vehicle, ensuring that the line of succession remains intact. It's a practice, though, that extends beyond royalty to prominent families as well, often where substantial wealth and business empires are at stake. This is particularly common in families that own large multinational corporations or hold significant shares of influential businesses, as by ensuring that key family members don't travel together, these families protect the continuity and governance of their enterprise. This precaution, though, is controversial, as there are those who argue it can seemingly be overcautious in the modern age, where air travel is statistically very safe and advanced safety measures are in place. If anything, it could be seen as unnecessarily increasing other people's anxieties about travel methods. Moving on to number 7, the Swedish king presents the Nobel Prizes. The Nobel Prizes are some of the most prestigious recognitions that people in various fields can be awarded each year. But did you know that it's the job of the King of Sweden to hand them out to the recipients? Every year on December 10th, the event, held at Stockholm Concert Hall and followed by a grand banquet at the City Hall, is a significant highlight in the global academic calendar. The Nobel Prizes are established by the will of Alfred Nobel, the inventor of dynamite. They're awarded in the fields of physics, chemistry, physiology or medicine, literature, and peace, although the Peace Prize is presented separately in Oslo, Norway. The role of the Swedish king in this ceremony is both symbolic and ceremonial, yet it carries prestige and tradition. The king's participation reflects the importance of the Nobel Prizes and Sweden's commitment to honoring outstanding contributions to humanity. Currently, King Carl XVI Gustaf fulfills this role, continuing a tradition that's been maintained since the first Nobel Prizes were awarded in 1901. The ceremony begins with an academic procession, followed by speeches from representatives of the Nobel committees who highlight the significance of the laureate's contributions. These laureates then receive their awards from the king himself, with each Nobel Prize consisting of a medal, a diploma, and a monetary award, which will vary in amount. King Carl XVI Gustav's presence adds a regal element to the proceedings. Dressed in full ceremonial attire, the king personally hands each laureate their medal and diploma, offering congratulations and posing for photographs. The Nobel banquet, held a bit later in the evening, is another part of the day's celebrations. The Swedish royal family, Nobel laureates, and other distinguished guests gather at the Stockholm City Hall for a lavish dinner. The banquet, attended by around 1,300 people, features speeches, toasts, and performances, further celebrating the laureates' achievements. The king then gives a speech, emphasizing the importance of science, literature, and peace, and he also highlights the contributions of the year's attendees. Number 6. The Sesu Festival. The Sesu Festival is one of Bhutan's most important and beloved traditions. Held each year in various monasteries and dzongs across the country, it's dedicated to Guru Rinpoche, the Buddhist saint who brought Buddhism to the country. The event involves colorful masks, dances, religious rituals, and communal gatherings, attracting both locals and international people. The Bhutanese royals, particularly the king and queen, play a vital role in the Sesu Festival. Their involvement is more than ceremonial, as it's a demonstration of their commitment to preserving and promoting Bhutan's heritage. The king and queen, often accompanied by their children and other members of the royal family, attend the festival's key events, reinforcing the monarchy's connection to the nation. During the festival, the royal family takes part in various ceremonies and rituals. They're often seen offering prayers and performing ritual rites, highlighting the importance of maintaining cultural and religious traditions in Bhutanese society. Probably the highlight is the series of masked dances known as cham dances. These dances, performed by monks and laypeople, depict stories and legends from Buddhism. The dances are a form of entertainment, but they also carry a deep religious significance, believed to bring blessings and protection to the viewers. The sight of the king and queen watching these dances, often dressed in traditional Bhutanese attire, adds to the prestige of the festival, and their engagement with the performances shows their support for the preservation of these ancient art forms. Number 5. The Stone of Scoon. The Stone of Scoon, also known as the Stone of Destiny, is a significant artifact that's played a central role in the coronation ceremonies of Scottish and British monarchs for centuries. This ancient sandstone block, weighing around 335 pounds or about 152 kilograms, is steeped in legend and tradition and continues to be important to this day. The origins of the stone are not known, but according to legend, it was used by Jacob from the Bible as a pillow when he had a vision of angels ascending and descending a ladder to heaven, known as Jacob's Ladder. This myth suggests that the stone was brought from the Holy Land to Scotland, meaning it is truly a sacred object. Historically, the Stone of Scoon was used in the coronation ceremonies of Scottish kings at Scone Abbey in Perthshire, Scotland, serving as the coronation seat, with the first recorded use of the stone for this purpose being in the coronation of Kenneth MacAlpin, the first king of the Scots in the 9th century. In 1296, during the Scottish War of Independence, the Stone of Scoon was seized by King Edward I of England as a symbol of his conquest of Scotland, and he had it transported to Westminster Abbey in London, where it was incorporated into a specially constructed wooden coronation chair known as King Edward's Chair. This act was intended to signify England's dominance over Scotland and to assert Edward's claim to be the rightful ruler of both nations, and for centuries it remained there and played a central role in the coronation ceremonies. Every monarch from Edward II to the current King Charles was crowned while seated above the stone, which was embedded in the base of King Edward's chair, a tradition that underscores the unity of the United Kingdom and the continuity of royal authority. The Stone of Scoon's presence in England was a point of contention and a symbol of subjugation for many Scots, however, and in 1950 a group of Scottish nationalists famously stole it from Westminster Abbey and smuggled it back to Scotland. It was eventually recovered and returned to Westminster Abbey, but this incident highlighted the stone's symbolic importance. In 1996, the British government decided to return the Stone of Scoon to Scotland as a gesture of goodwill and recognition of its culture. The stone was transported to Edinburgh Castle, where it remains on display alongside the Scottish crown jewels, although with the agreement that it would be temporarily returned to Westminster Abbey for future coronation ceremonies, which it was recently for King Charles. Number 4. The Swan Upping Ceremony. You may already know that every swan in the United Kingdom is officially the property of the royal family, but rather than simply being a strange ancient law, it's something that's reinforced every year by the Swan Upping ceremony. This traditional practice, which is held every third week of July, is a census of the swan population on the Thames, specifically focused on mute swans. The ceremony dates back to the 12th century, when the crown claimed ownership of all mute swans, which were considered a delicacy at medieval feasts. And while today the event is more about conservation and education than preparing for royal banquets, it's still taken very seriously. The ceremony is led by the King's Swan Maker, along with the Swan Uppers from the Vintners and Dyers Livery Companies, which are two companies that were granted rights of ownership to some of the swans by the crown centuries ago. The Swan Upping fleet is made of several traditional rowing skiffs, each flying flags adorned with the insignias of their respective organizations, and these boats make their way up the Thames over a 5-day period, starting at Sunbury and ending at Abingdon. The Swan Upping begins with the cry of "All up" as the Swan Uppers approach a brood of swans. The rowers carefully herd the birds to the riverbank where they're examined, weighed, and measured. Each swan family is assessed for health and given a thorough checkup to ensure they're free from injury and disease. Any signets found during the process are marked with a small ring on their leg indicating their ownership, with the swans owned by the king being marked differently from those owned by the Vintners and Dyers companies. The ceremonial aspects of this swan upping are steeped in tradition. Participants wear uniforms featuring red, white, and blue colors of the British monarchy and their respective livery. The event draws spectators along the riverbanks too to witness this blend of historical ritual and wildlife management. The ceremony has evolved significantly from its origins, as in the past the focus was mainly on asserting ownership and preparing swans for consumption, but now it's done alongside conservationists and wildlife experts to ensure the well-being of the swans and to bring attention to the importance of all species in the river. Number 3. The King of Eswatini chooses a new wife each year. The King of Eswatini, which used to be called Swaziland, was the last monarch in Africa to have absolute authority over their country, and this has led to the current king, Mswati III, living quite the luxurious life in comparison to his subjects. It's also allowed for the development of an unusual tradition, whereby although he currently has 15 wives, a ceremony takes place every year where he chooses yet another. This annual event, known as the Umanga or Reed Dance, is one of the most significant cultural ceremonies there, drawing thousands of young women from across the nation. It takes place in late August or early September, and it lasts for 8 days, and it's seen as a vibrant celebration of womanhood and unity among Swazi women. The event was popularized during the reign of King Sobhuza II and continues to be a focal point of Swazi culture. Young women, often referred to as maidens, come from all regions to participate. They dress in traditional attire, which includes brightly colored skirts, beaded jewelry, and sashes. Each participant carries a long reed, which they present to the Queen Mother, symbolizing their purity and readiness to serve their kingdom. The highlight of the Umanga is the grand dance, where the maidens dance and sing in unison before the king and other dignitaries. And it's during this time that the king may choose a new wife. Although it's not mandatory part of the ceremony every year, the selection of a wife is seen as a personal decision for the king and is often influenced by various factors, including political and familial considerations. Polygamy is a long-standing practice in the local culture, particularly among the royal family, and is viewed as a means of strengthening alliances. While the Umanga Reed Dance is celebrated for its cultural significance, it's also faced some criticism from various quarters. Critics argue that the practice of the king in choosing a new wife perpetuates the outdated gender norms and polygamy, with concerns about the pressure placed on young women to participate in the event. Number 2. The British Monarch has 2 birthdays. There are a few celebrations that take place each year that are personal to us, one of which is our birthday. But in another example of how royals are often treated differently, the British king actually has 2 of them. It's a tradition that dates back hundreds of years and is one of the ways they blend personal and public duties, as well as dealing with the practicalities of British weather. The monarch's official birthday is distinct from their actual birthday. The actual birthday is the anniversary of the monarch's birth. So, for example, King Charles was born November 14, 1948. This is the date that's celebrated privately by the royal family and may include some public acknowledgments such as gun salutes. But the official birthday is a separate celebration held on a different date, usually the second Saturday in June. The origin of this tradition goes back to the reign of King George II in 1748. He was born in November, a month often known for its tricky weather in the UK, which made it difficult to hold large public celebrations. To address this, the official birthday celebration was moved to a date in the summer in order to make sure there was better weather. This practice has been maintained by successive monarchs ever since, and it's become an established tradition. The biggest event on the monarch's official birthday is the Trooping the Colour ceremony. This event, also known as the King's Birthday Parade, is a spectacular military display held in London and involves the participation of over 1,400 soldiers, 200 horses, and 400 musicians. The parade moves from Buckingham Palace along the Mall to Horse Guards Parade, where the king inspects the troops and takes the salute. Trooping the Colour also has historical roots dating back to the early 18th century and serves as both a birthday celebration and a display of military prowess. Each year, one of the regiments of the Household Division takes its turn to troop its regimental flag, or colour, in front of the monarch, and the ceremony concludes with the royal family appearing on the balcony of Buckingham Palace to watch a flypast by the Royal Air Force. As well as this, there's other events that may be held to mark the official birthday, often including a special birthday concert, the issuance of commemorative coins and stamps, and various public celebrations. The King's Birthday Honours List is also published, which recognizes the achievements and service of people across the UK and the Commonwealth, and grants them some prestigious titles. Number 1. The Shii Gosan Festival. The royal family takes part in ceremonies and traditions all throughout the year, but perhaps one of the more unusual, mostly because of how specific it is in terms of who celebrates it, is the Shii Gosan Festival. Held each year on November 15th, it's become an important event in the lives of young children and their families. Its name translates to 753, and it's an event that celebrates 3- and 5-year-old boys and 3- and 7-year-old girls. It's an occasion to celebrate the growth and health of young children, and it holds a special cultural and familial importance in Japan. The Japanese imperial family, being the symbolic and cultural leaders of the country, usually participate in the festivities. This festival is more than 1,000 years old, but has significantly changed over this time. At first, it was a rite of passage for aristocratic children, marking significant stages in their growth. But then it became more widespread traditions among all families in Japan. For the imperial family, the festival is an opportunity to celebrate their young members' milestones like everyone else, and when imperial children reach the appropriate ages, they wear traditional Japanese attire and visit Shinto shrines for blessings. The boys typically wear hakama and the girls wear colorful kimono, which are intricately designed and symbolize the prosperity wished upon the children. The royal family's participation in the festival depends on whether they have any children at their respective ages. If they do, it's usually a private affair, held at the Meiji Shrine or other significant shrine. These shrine visits are led by priests who perform purification rites and offer prayers for the children's healthy growth and future prosperity. Photographs and media coverage of the imperial family celebrating it often emerge, providing the public with a glimpse of the royal children's progression and the family's adherence to tradition. These images not only highlight the personal milestones of the imperial children, but also serve to strengthen the cultural identity and continuity of Japanese society. If they don't have any children of those ages, though, they tend to take a more public role in celebrating the festival, helping to bring the community together and wish a successful future to the youth. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time. Thank you to our channel members.